Forbes Books presents Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth with David Radlow. Transformation for a new and better world. Here's David.
Thanks for joining me once again for my talk with Jeff Dudan, the Chairman and CEO of Homefront Brands. He's also the author of a couple great books, including Discernment, the Business Athlete's Regimen for a Great Life Through Better Decisions. We've been talking about his love of entrepreneurship and franchising and how he was able to build and sell home restoration powerhouse AdvantaClean systems. Now, Jeff, I want to take a deeper dive into how you developed your franchise model. It sounds like it came down to emanating from your core beliefs of wanting to spend more time with your family and germinating from there.
I first became exposed to the franchise model back in Florida in the mid-90s. And what I realized very quickly was that the franchise models and the dealership models, the Service Masters, the ServPros, the Pure Cleans, the Paul Davises, the First General Services, they had an advantage in having a distributed network of people that they could focus on a disaster area. So very early, I noticed very early in my career that this industry was largely franchised. So I always had it in the beginning of my mind, like from that moment on in 95, 96, 97, I was like, I'm going to build, if I'm going to be in this industry, it's going to be with a franchise. So it took a long time for us to, and candidly, it was a kind of a misalignment with partners and cash needs. We were making a living and we were building the business, but I was always pushing towards, what's the franchise offering going to look like? How are we going to go to market? And when I came to the Carolinas, and I was the only partner operating in the Carolinas, we very quickly became the largest arm of the business and the thought leader, and we were kind of dragging the rest of the company along with us. So it just made sense that I ended up with it. And then we all have to make decisions about, every morning we should wake up and ask ourselves, what matters the most to us. And to me, it was very important that, I created a nuclear family. I didn't kind of turn my kids out on the street, kind of in the way that I was turned out on the street, and got distracted with a lot of things that I probably shouldn't as I was growing up. I think I really developed a heart for people and a heart for connecting dots for other people. I really realized that I loved pouring into people. I loved encouraging people. I loved taking what I had learned in a business and being able to package it up in a way for other people to change their life. And if you think about it, it's what happened with the painting business. And we took the painting business, we created it, we created all the systems and processes and accounts around it. And then my partner and I left, and my younger brother and his younger brother took it over, and they put themselves through college on it. And we would get checks out of the business. So I'm like, I can start a business. I can get other people a good deal, for where they are in their life to do it, and I can still get a benefit from it, whether it's the $5,000 for the truck or, the few $1,000s that I would occasionally get out of the business from the profits. So to me, that was a very appealing business model to me, and I got to work with people that it really meant a lot to. You can invest $50,000 in a franchise and put your shoulder through the grindstone and use the systems and borrow some of the brand equity that's been built across the country and really make a material income and build some equity that they can sell that business and put together a pile of money that they would not have otherwise been able to have. So that was always attractive to me. I was looking for the ability to reconcile the fact that I wanted to build something of significance, something of materiality. They say your true values are what you tolerate. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice the impact that I wanted to have on my family in a restoration business and be on the road 300 nights a year. Because if you've got a $1 million project going on out in California and something goes wrong, you got a performance bond on that thing, you've got to get out there and make sure that it goes right. I saw it as a way that I could align my business goals with my personal goals. And I think that's really an important point for people that are looking to start a business, is make sure that your business meets your requirements from all the angles. And then I have to check myself on this all the time. Sometimes when I'm feeling I'm getting a little bit busy or overwhelmed, I will say, you know what, maybe I need to sunset a few of these things or get myself out of these few things. But I think, moreover, if you think well enough about it, and if you seek counsel enough about it, that you can think big and you can maintain a big approach. And you just haven't solved it well enough yet. You can still honor the commitments that you've made to yourself and anything that's important to you. It could be your family, it could be a charity, it could be a hobby, it could be, something that you believe is critically important in your life, that makes you who you are, and you can honor that, and you can still maintain an aggressive posture in growing things. You just have to communicate clearly with the people that are involved, and you just have to figure it out. You have to figure out because you generally can, they say you can have anything, but you can't have everything. And I think that's true. But generally, we tend to limit, we have self-limiting beliefs in terms of, either what we're worth or why should I have a piece of this company if I can only contribute this? Well, then you have to say, well, is what I can contribute in the amount of time that I have valuable enough for me to have that? Self-limiting beliefs are, we're constantly putting them on ourselves. And I admire people that have the ability to just put their limitations, aside and look at things objectively. And those are the people that really, seem to have everything that they want in the way that they want it, and it fits inside of who they are as a person. My partner in one of our businesses, fitness concept, Rockbox, he shared with me, and I know he got it from somewhere. In fitness, it's a membership model, and we're constantly selling, and we're having a whole price and do that. And he coaches people. He said, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. And we are constantly arguing with ourselves around self-limiting beliefs. And I think that's some wisdom that I've adopted from him or wherever he got it from.
Listen, where you came from test marketing and developed the franchise footprint, and it's replicated. It seems you, very honest, I picked up, you really don't suck at sales. You're really good at it.
I think, you need to be. I believe passionately in the things that I'm involved with. I believe passionately that entrepreneurship is critical to this country, strengthening the foundation of the country, building a middle class, giving people an opportunity to take whatever they've got and to bet on themselves and to improve their station in life for them and those that they care about. And when I'm talking about that, if you want to call that sales, you call it sales, but I just believe in it. And people need encouragement. I mean, there's a great book called The On Purpose Person by Kevin McCarthy. I recommend it all the time. I've gone through it several times in my life, and it changes a little as you age and you get in different opportunities and you go through these seasons of life. But, my current, last time I went through it is, I exist to serve this world by encouraging entrepreneurs. And so when I'm if there's an entrepreneur that listens to this podcast and they get something from it that encourages them, then this has been on purpose time spent for me. And I believe that I've honored, the reason that I exist and what I want to do every day. And franchising is, think about it, I have a steady stream of entrepreneurs and people that are looking to you to say, if I do this and I follow the plan, will I be successful, and can I move myself ahead, be a better business owner? One of the businesses that we're currently franchising, the guy was one of our early AdvantaClean franchisees, and they built a powerful AdvantaClean business, and then he took everything that he learned from that experience and he started a fence company, and they were wildly successful with it. And then I acquired the franchise side of that business, and We had to rebrand it to Top Rail Fencing, but that's an individual that was a laid off commercial banker at the time who filled his income need through AdvantaClean, and then he parlayed that into another business. And so he's had many, a couple different business lives there, and I've been fortunate to be a part of it and a catalyst for it, and so that's what lights me up. And but sales is really just articulating the difference between you and somebody else, or between what you've got and them doing nothing at all. And I think if you're in fitness, like some of our businesses, it's between that opportunity and the couch, or if it's franchising, it's between that franchise opportunity and maybe a job, and just connecting, giving people an honest opportunity to understand the differences, and is really what sales is. It's really just connecting those dots for people and helping them understand whatever the fear is they have, and how to compartmentalize that and how to be rational about it, and to understand how to go through making the decision to what looks like a little bit more risk perhaps and a little bit of investment, but when you really get down to it, there's risk in everything that we do. Time and love are our two greatest assets, and the time spent building a business and creating some equity, and the confidence and significance that you feel from standing on nothing and creating something, there's really nothing like it.
The hidden secret sharing time to revenue and growth. And you talked about formatting things and a 90-day program, and also you talked about, for the most part, getting franchisees motivated to grind, as humility plus grit equals success. How hard is it for you to motivate that versus just I put in money, pay me an annuity, and let me move on?
The franchise model of today differs from 30 years ago, where 30 years ago you would get a sales kit, a business card, and an annual convention. If it is to be, it's up to me. You got to take what they give you and you got to go out and build it. And, the word disenfranchised comes from that, right? If you were to get married today and then only see your wife for 3 days once a year, or your spouse, you would become disenfranchised. So today, we're of the belief that the more that a franchisor can do to take the things that can be centralized, digital marketing, telephony, call center, technology, obviously all of these things, the more that you can provide a franchisee so that they can do the things that only they can do in the local marketplace, which is networking, sales, belly-to-belly sales, fulfillment, the production of the work, collecting the money, making a difference in their community, giving back to their community. Like, those are the things that only they can do. So the more things, the more variables that we as a franchisor can handle, the more pay time that they're going to have doing the things that make a difference in their business. So, but to your point is, if they don't leave the house, it's not going to work. So it's they have to be motivated to go out there and do it. And some of that is to the greatest extent possible, understanding who your franchisees are. So we use some tools to analyze, do some some testing or profiling per se about what's the best way to interact with these people, what are their learning styles, how do they, what do they need to hear. But then it's just good old communication fundamentals, making sure that you're using things that you might learn from Pat Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team to Covey's The Speed of Trust. All of these different things, giving people the information that they need to see a clear path between the things that they do on a daily basis and the outcomes that they want to have and that you want them to have for them. It's just good old leadership. It's good communication, and it's coaching. And especially for first-time business owners, where to focus, what matters, and what's just noise. Those are things that the good franchise companies they keep the most important things, And first things first and second things never.
You got something very successful, and you're a bang up salesman, and you're selling franchises, and things are growing like gangbusters. You're setting yourself up, and you've got a very strong leadership program. You're building strong teams. You're setting up a cadence. You're setting up a meritocracy, and all these deliverables in order to set your vision to where you need to be. For you, what were the key things that turned it into a very good business into a national business?
Number one, we did the work over a number of years, basically from that consulting group I hired in 2004, and then all the way through when we sold our company stores under the franchise model, we ended up with a small group of franchisees that we placed into what were existing businesses in different markets. And we really used that 2006, 2007, 2008 period to curate our story, to curate our values, and to test all the systems. We were a very early adopter of Salesforce.com. We kind of bent it to our will. We created a national scheduling capability inside of that. And getting the offering right and understanding how did what we have fit the needs of people. Also, how could we create a culture? If you asked people the 4 reasons why they would have joined our franchise, it was the same stuff all the time. Number 1, it was culture. They felt like, what we stood for, we walked the walk, we talked the talk. And what they heard from us prior to joining didn't change after joining. So we had a consistency there that they could trust. And it was exactly, we didn't sugarcoat it. We gave them a very realistic view of what it was going to take and what we did and what they needed to do and all that. So they felt like the culture was honest and appropriate for the industry that we operated in. The second thing we did was we realized that if we wanted to provide value perpetually, that we needed to provide, we agreed that we were going to meet the franchisees at the front door. We took a large responsibility for driving the leads from a marketing perspective and for booking the appointments through a call center, which would get our franchisees to the front door. It also created data integrity, meaning contractor may or may not be disciplined about getting the information in the system as it needs to be. But when all the calls came in through a front door, we answered 99% of the calls in 2 rings or less. And, we were very disciplined about, getting the information in. So now we could lead source. We can give them better information about ROI and things like that. So the marketing call center combination was the other thing that they would say they were very happy with and they would validate too. And then the last thing was our technical expertise. So we had spent enough time and done incredibly technical work all over the country and a little bit internationally so that those people would never be stumped when a franchisee came up with a question. We'd done everything. So having that technical expertise gave them comfort that they were part of an organization that really understood the market, and we would go out and help them if they ever got into something that they needed. They got into a jam or anything like that. So doing those things, really getting prepared in that way allowed us to be successful when we went to the marketplace. It tasted right. It was right. We delivered on the promise in every way. And I think that led to success. But also, too, you had said early on about working hard, taking chances. I mean, there's a bit of commitment there. You could call it too stupid to fail. But we launched AdvantaClean to the market after the recession, the great financial crisis of 2007 and 2008, probably started a little bit in 2006. And there was a lot of, preparation met opportunity. We were really ready to go to market. We had worked out all the kinks. And then there were people that were concerned about their corporate gig, about the certainty of that continuing, or they were out of work. They had retirement funds that had lost value. So there were new people that were looking for a way to solve that problem, whether it be kids' college, retirement, short-term income. And we had an offering that was recession-resistant, high-margin, complementary third-party payer services. So we really the timing was good for what we had to offer. I would say that with the things that we're doing today, with the economic climate, with Homefront Brands, we own 6 property service franchise brands now in a platform, that we're also in a time that a lot of people are going to be looking for something that our brands, looking to solve a problem that our brands can really help them with.
Well, that's great. As we go into discussing Homefront Brands, when did you know it was time to sell, and what preparation did you have to get out, and why'd you do it, and why'd you start Homefront Brands?
So I think for me, having that business for 25 years, I was staring at 50 years old. The marketplace for franchise brands had really gotten very frothy and very hot. There was a consolidation going on in our space. So it was, it seemed to me that all of these stars were aligning. The other thing that I did was I had started early in 2009 and beyond, putting myself in bigger tables, in bigger rooms. I had started by joining Vistage, which is a local CEO network with local businesses, and I was in that for 9 years. My Vistage chair was a guy named Dave Zierfosk, who was the president of Husqvarna North America. Took him from 29 million in sales to 530 million in sales over 18 years, and through a distributor network or a dealership network. So he was an incredible mentor for me. He's poured so much into me. You hear a lot of his wisdom and discernment that he poured into me over the 9 years that I was a member of Vistage. And then I joined YPO, Young Presidents Organization, a few years later, and I worked in that to in leadership. And now I started to be around people that had sold their business and had transformed their lives. And so for me, it wasn't that foreign anymore, because now I was in a room with people that had sold one or more businesses. And the combination of being around the YPO organization and the great business owners and business builders in there, looking at the marketplace. And then also, I really wanted for the AdvantaClean franchisees, and I did the best I could to find a place where I thought that they would be able to get additional resources and additional services and to be able to grow their business. It's not that I felt like I had taken it as far as we could. I think it was a really good time for that organization to kind of move on to the next place. And if I stood back and looked at it objectively, I think it was the right move. And then at 50, it allowed me a chance to have some liquidity and to look around and to really, Dave Zierfoss coached me to go deeper inside of my, to spend some time and to whatever I did next to kind of go deeper inside of my purpose, whatever that was to me, whatever mattered to me, and to make sure that what I did for my fourth quarter of my life was going to be something that was aligned with all of my goals across business and personal.
Now you've been in franchising space for quite a long time, and you've repivoted, you have liquidity, and then you're working with your family in Homefront. You get to work with your brother. I think you may have other family members that are involved or considering getting into it. What's the next chapter?
One of the first things that I did, and I had helped another business owner build a national fitness franchise. I had met them before they had franchised and coached them, and it's a system with 350 or 400 open now. And so I met a couple of guys in a fitness concept called Rockbox Fitness. They had 2 locations open. They were in the process of, they'd awarded some franchises. They were opening some more, and they needed franchise expertise. So I ended up joining them and ultimately became the majority shareholder in that business. That business is doing very well. We've got over 160 units sold. We'll have almost 60 open by the end of the year. And we went right into COVID with it. And that was a chance, you should never let a crisis go to waste. We took an aggressive posture during COVID, and we said, you know what, there's going to be great talent out here on the streets and great opportunities. And we went right at it and did a great job with that business. during that, managing through that time and coming out the other end stronger. And then we have a infrared sauna concept called Beam Light Sauna that's with it. So my partner runs that platform. It's called Thrive More. It's got the 2 brands in it, 2 fast-growing franchise businesses over there, and what would be considered in the health and wellness space, fitness, health, and wellness. And then with my family, about a year and a half of getting involved in different deals and helping these guys with that platform and a couple of other businesses, we decided to put together a property service platform called Homefront Brands. We think it's something that's going to be extremely relevant here in the near term. Property services, all the people are moving from west to east, north to south, climate, everything else. So there's a lot of people moving. We have an aging housing inventory, and people are less DIY than they ever were. Our kids don't grow up fixing fences and water heaters and things like that, and doing plumbing like maybe we did, being self-sufficient when we were coming up. And so property services still has a long runway for people that want to build a great business in recurring revenue. So we created this idea of Homefront Brands, and then over the last 12 months, we've acquired 6 franchise brands into it. That's really what we're doing right now in terms of our family and some great executives and great talented people and franchisees in building that into a really material property service platform with currently 6 brands in it and a few more likely on the way here shortly.
Thank you very much for describing and taking us through this. Crisis is Opportunity with Jeff Dudan. For listeners who want to find out more about Jeff, buy a book, Discernment, or Hey Coach, and learn more about Homefront Brands, where should they go?
You can go to homefrontbrands.com and you can see our brands there. And if you want to connect with me, LinkedIn, just Jeff Dudan is a great place to go and connect with me. I'd be happy to connect with you there, or go to my Instagram, which is also just Jeff Dudan. And if you want to see some of my other podcasts or some other content, you can go to dudangroup.com.
Jeff, I really enjoyed it. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Absolutely an honor and privilege to be on with you, David. Thank you so much.
To connect with David, go to davidradlow.com. David's book set, The Principles of Cartel Disruption and Secret Stories of Leadership, Growth, and Innovation, are available wherever books are sold. This has been Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth with David Radlow, a presentation of Forbes Books.